सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। श्लोका नंबर 62, page number 149. If it is too dark in the back, okay. svayamantarbahirvyāpya bhāsayannakhilaṃ jagat brahma prakāśate vahnīhi prataptāyasapiṇḍavat pratapta ayasa pindavat. Pinda, a ball. Ayasa, it is the iron ball. How is it? Pratapta, it is nicely tapta, it is heated up and it is glowing whitish orange. If you go to the foundries, you will find people working on the iron to mold it. So just before molding, they take that iron, throw it into the kiln, and when they take it out, it is glowing red hot. Then they start the molding process. So at that point, it seems like there is absolutely no difference between the iron ball and the heat and light of the fire. It glows, and you go closer to it, you will find that it also has heat, immense heat. Though the iron ball has no such nature, but yet, because in the presence of the heating process, when it is fired up, it acquires that particular attribute of heat and light, and for a very long time, it behaves as though it is verily the pratyaksha Agni Swarupa. So through the induction, it has taken in the quality of the fire and it carries it forward until it cools down. You cannot say that the nature of iron is either hot or cold. It's an acquired status. And that acquired status can be gained, can be lost, can be regained as well. If this example is understood, he says, Svayam antaha bahihi vyāpya bhāsayannakhilaṃ jagat. The entire creation is as though permeated by that conscious principle. So here let's go step by step. The jagat is a perceived reality. What is unreal about it? To consider it as an independent reality. That is the only thing which is unreal about it. So if you mix Hindi and English, you can say this is the status of the jagat, which is na real. Na real. What aspect of it are we calling as not real? As an independent reality, it has no satta to it. It becomes real only when I, the conscious principle, enlivens it as the existential conscious principle, without which there is no satta to it. So here one might question that if it is me, the conscious principle, that is enlivening it, then how come there is a commonality between different perceptions? We all stand on the same side and watch something. We all are seeing and perceiving the same thing. If it is my reality, then it has to be different. Therefore, our Vidyaranya Swamiji comes to our rescue. He says that that which we are giving an independent reality to, is not created by you and me, it is projected by Ishvara, and that Ishvara is common. Therefore, it would be a shocking surprise if my dream and your dream are a common dream. Because that is my projection. You getting the point? See, whatever I dream, do you dream the same? Because in my head, it is my projection. It is my world. This outside, that which we see, whose projection is it? That is the Ishvara. And that being common, everything that which is projected is Ishvaratva. Therefore, there seems to be a commonality of all the perception perceiving the same. But then the sense of reality to it comes only when I, the conscious principle, enliven it with the conscious existing principle. How does that happen? So the first part of the shloka, svayamantarbahirvyāpya. Just like the induction into the iron ball, similarly, the jada tattva, though very sattvic, it is still jada, of antakarana is enlivened by that conscious principle, conscious existence principle enlivens our antakarana. And now through that, that which is enlivened. The organs of perception action are enlivened. Induction. Now understand the induction as a very simple process. These days you get, however you pronounce this word, triply or triply. 3 different layers. One layer of steel on the outside, and then for a good conduction there is aluminum inside, and then again steel. Sometimes the outermost layer is replaced with copper. I am talking of the vessels that you use for cooking. And you place it on that flat surface, which is also the induction stove. So you turn the heat on. A very smart gadget. If there is nothing on it, it will not heat up. It will heat up only if there is something placed on it. And once it heats up, you can regulate the temperature. And as the temperature reaches to the max that you have set, then the outermost layer becomes hot. Then from that, the inner layer gets heated up. Then the most inner layer gets heated up. Then you throw in whatever is required and they start getting heated up. You throw your prapancha in it and it gets heated up. Similarly, even amongst the antakarana, what gets first enlivened? The buddhi, which is the most sukshma tattva. In that, the conscious principle reflects. The reflected consciousness also carries the same similar kind of attributes of that which it is reflecting in that buddhi. Now that reflected conscious principle now enlivens the manas. And then the manas enlivens the organs of perception and eventually the organs of action as well. Through the organs of perception, this reflected consciousness which has enlivened up until the organs of perception, it as though pops out, enlivening everything, giving it a sense of actuality, sense of reality to it. Unless and until that my mind is activated to perceive this, that jagat is non-existent until then. So when I sleep, what happens? The entire jagat is gone. Because there is no one perceiving it, there is no jagat for that individual. The confusion occurs wherein I change this standpoint from my individual perception to as though everyone's perception. Thereby saying, even if I sleep, the jagat continues, right? Your jagat is gone, right? There is no more you, then where is your jagat? Because the you, the mind, is withdrawn. In sushupti avastha, it goes into its nascent state of being. There is no movement there. In fact, what do we define as sushupti avastha? That where there is no movement of antakarana is called sushupti avastha. Therefore, when I wake up, I say, aham kimapi na janami, maya sukhena nidra anubhuyate. That I don't know anything. But the fact that you did not have the moment of knowing, that was illumined, right? So the conscious principle is continuing, illumining the absence of the functionality of this antakarana. When it wakes up, again the entire process of induction, and through that I start perceiving the entire world, because it is that borrowed entity. Because this prapancha cannot survive, cannot exist anything other than as a projected reality. We are not saying that that which you are seeing, perceiving is unreal. Get this point very, very, very clear. That projected reality aspect of it, as long as I understand that it is a projected reality, is real. To assume that it is an independent reality is where there is a huge problem. It is not an independent reality. It is only a projected reality. It can only be justified as an projected reality. This aspect makes a difference in all the different parts of the Vedantic philosophies of Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, Nimbarka, Gaudiya, where their perception is there is the jagat and it is real, it is not projected. The moment you take to that aspect, logically it is not possible to sustain it. The only way that logically we can sustain the aspect of jagat is only when it is a projected reality. The entire crux of Mandukya Upanishad, especially the Karika on that it is only a projected reality. So when somebody asks Gaudapadacharya negate the world to prove your Advaita Siddhanta, his standpoint is very unique and very bold. He says, first prove the world. Once you can effectively prove the world, that is when I can say that I have now the responsibility to negate it. That which is a projected reality, to prove it becomes extremely different, extremely difficult. Not difficult, it is impossible. Therefore, this tattva which is being said, antarbahirvyāpya svayam bhāsayannakhilaṃ jagat. This entire creation is illumined when I, the conscious principle, illumines the antakarana, and through that give validity to this, that which I experience as jagat, as what? As only a projected reality. In that projected reality, whatever are the laws, you follow it accordingly, knowing that that also is an aspect of projected reality. Funnily, somebody said a story that Adi Shankaracharya ji was giving a similar discourse, and suddenly a mad elephant rushed into that satsang. Everybody ran away. There was a guy that was trying to climb a tree, and he got a helping hand from somebody who had already climbed the tree. And he pulled him up, and there he found that the one who gave him the hand was Shankaracharya ji himself. And as the mess settles down, he says, hey, were you not the one that you were saying that all of this is just a projected reality? He says, yes. Then why did you run? He said, Mama palayanam api mithya. I don't think this is a story that actually happened, but it kind of humorously presents a point, therefore saying it this way. That mama palayanam api mithya. As much as that which I am experiencing is the prarabdha, which is the projected reality, the solutions offered to face that prarabdha is also a projected reality. But how do we interact with the world outside? From what standpoint? Not from the conscious standpoint. So the first aspect that we do is we give astitva satta, satyatva satta to the jagat. And then through the mind, I now carry separate lenses. Lenses of raga, dvesha. Raga likes, dvesha dislikes. And thereby, that which is a projected reality, not being understood as projected reality, what do? I start running for it or running away from it. There are only two modes of functioning. There is a constant unsettling existence. This unsettling existence is called samsara. Poor Jiva, why is he running? Very desperate to find a sense of fulfillment or contentment, the sense of completeness within. Not finding it in that identified entity as the reflected consciousness limited by the mind, intellect and the organs of perception, action and this sthula sharira, and then forced by to look at the entire creation as within the range of the vasanas which trickle down as likes and dislikes. We are caught up in that realm. Now the entire process is described. Now this is what we call as the state of doings. Now how do we get back to the state of being? Everything that which we are enmeshed into the doing has to be undone. Step by step. See, just like when you go into the operation room, there is a methodical process that the patient has to be also scrubbed and cleaned. The doctor comes in scrubbed and cleaned. Then wherever the surgery has to be done, first a scalpel, the external layer is cut. You cannot take it and kuchak under that thing. There has to be the external layer, dermis, epidermis and all that you have to cut into, and then open it up, then slowly cut whatever is necessary and then move into the zone where you have to operate. Step by step. And for each step they will have different sets of instruments. Right? I have been only on the sleeping end, that too I am on a knocked out state. When I asked the doctors, they explained that this is how it is done. Layer by layer, it is done. Step by step. If you rush in, then it is not called operation anymore. It is not licensed to cure. It is licensed to kill. The entire operation goes haywire. So sometimes when they are doing it, though meticulously, when the instrument nicks, these are very sharp instruments, it nicks somewhere, and then there is unforeseen error. Similarly here, as meticulous, as careful that we have to be in the operation, much more careful should be this process of the undoing. Carefully, each layer. Where are we enmeshed? We are enmeshed in our raga dvesha. Now that raga dvesha has to be grown out of. And then disidentify with that mind, intellect, antahkarana equipment. And then quieten that mind and intellect. Then educate that mind and intellect through the satsanga, the shravana, that where I am enmeshed is, what is its nature? Panchabhuta viveka, the anityatva of it. Then comes the projected reality aspect of it. Once that is also ascertained, there is no more agitated antahkarana. In that shanta antahkarana, now you start investigating into what exactly is the source. Very subtle process here. Because the reflected consciousness and the conscious principle itself appears very similar. The moment in that investigative process, we come to realize that this can happen only through that reflected, and turn our attention to that which is my true nature. It has always been, it has never ceased to be. In that absorption, this whole process is meditative process, thorough contemplative meditative process. And then you abide in it. Samadhistha. That which is indicated through the shloka, I have tried putting it in a very logical sense, in a way that we can apply it. Hope you have captured all the steps. Next shloka. Jagadvilakṣaṇaṃ brahma brahmaṇo'nyanna kiṃcana brahmaṇo'nyanna kiṃcana brahmānyadbhāti cenmithyā yathā marumarīcikā. Jagat vilakṣaṇaṃ brahma brahmaṇah anyat na kiṃcana brahmānyadbhāti chet mithya yathā marumarīcikā. Brahma tattvam jagat vilakṣaṇaṃ. Jagat is anitya, as we saw in the last shloka. Again, I will repeat. When we say it is anitya, unreal, what aspect of that is unreal? This understanding, if it is not very well settled in our grasp, we will be going in loops, just like the dog trying to catch its own tail. जो चक्कर काटते रहेंगे. To catch this point very, very clearly. When we say that the jagat is unreal, from the standpoint of it being independent satta, independent reality. No, we are not. That aspect of it is called unreal, anitya. That which we are experiencing that aspect of it is not being removed or trashed. Yes, you are experiencing, but as what? As a projected reality only. If it is a projected reality, it has to be projected onto something. If in the open air, I have to have Gurudev's mega screen Jnana Yajna, without that screen, can I project it? No. If it is projected, it has to have something to be projected upon. That which it is projected upon is this Brahma Tattva. And Brahma Tattva is not the aspect of projected jagat. It is the adhara. Adhara, that which is the substratum which sustains that which it is projecting. Therefore, Brahma Tattvam jagadvilakṣaṇaṃ. When we say earlier in this very book that this entire jagat is permeated by that conscious existential principle alone, what do we mean? That all of this which is a projected reality is projected upon this adhara, and the projected reality is only the adheya, supported by the very substratum for its projection to be perceived. Is the first part of the sentence understood? Now the second part of the sentence, brahmaṇah anyat na kiṃcana. There is nothing other than this Brahman. Therefore, sadhana is not just during the satsanga or on your meditation platform where you are contemplating it with utmost sincerity, but even as you get out and start interacting with the world, if you are maintaining this drishti, this vision that everything is nothing but this conscious principle alone. Therefore, when we see the jnani interacting with the world or an ajnani interacting with the world, it will look very similar. When Gurudev went to Ernakulam for the first time after he became the famous thing happening in Bharatavarsha as Swami Chinmayananda of Chinmaya Mission. So his old group of friends, they came to meet him. So the first time that they came, before going to their offices, they said, he was taking a shower. They waited, he came out, and said he was taking breakfast. He invited them, they also took breakfast. And then he went for his lecture. So he was driven, they were also invited. So when they saw everything, after a good follow-up, they said, what is the difference? You seem to be doing the exact same thing. We also take shower, you also take shower. We also sleep, you also sleep. We also do this, you also do that. What is the difference? Gurudev said, I do it knowing that it is a projected reality. You do it as it is the real satta, and there lies the huge difference. Projected reality meaning anitya. When we step out, what is the standpoint with which we are functioning? Am I functioning being this real interacting with that real. This real meaning I the ahankara, I the jiva is real, the jagat is real. Shuru jagda. Mamaka pandavas chaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. What did they do? और क्या करेंगे? झगड़ा ही करेंगे. Therefore, in the Rama Gita, which comes in Ramcharitmanas, not in the Adhyatma Ramayana, in Ramcharitmanas, there Lakshmana asks, "O brother, what is Maya?" He says, "मैं और मोर तोरते Maya." I and mine versus you and yours. Wherever that is the perspective with which we are functioning. In the Bhakti Marga, how do we get out of it? Everything is Bhagavan's. In Jnana Marga, nothing is mine, nothing is real. Both are talking about the same thing only. One seems easy, palatable. The other seems not easy, not palatable. So Jnana Marga is saying it very emphatically that Brahma na yat kiṃcana. Other than this Brahma Tattva, there is nothing else. Whatever else we are perceiving is only the projected reality. Where should our focus be? On that unto which it is being projected, which is my true nature. See, everything is borrowing the status of conscious existential principle from me. How can that which is borrowing its very existence from my very existential core, how can that be something which is threatening my very existence? It's like the child who lives in the parents' house bars the parents from coming into the room, privacy. Your very sustenance, your very existence, your very room and every amenity provided in that room is by that poor fellow called parent. And now that fellow who is living off of that parent is trying to dictate terms to the very parent. I think I shared that. There was this 10 commandments. Thou shalt not enter in without my pre-approved permission. Tera room, tera everything is provided. Who are you to permit? And the last one is, if you have entered, understand that what you are seeing is the most pleasant display. It could have been much worse because I live in a tornado. That which is the adheya cannot control that which is the adhara. But we function from that perspective alone, that I have to control, otherwise everything is controlling. The psychological games that we play to show the upper hand in that jagat which is a projected reality. कहाँ भटके हुए हैं? And then we say that there is so much of politics. If the perspective is that we have given astitva satta to that which is sustained by me and not functioning from that standpoint but giving reality to it, We are enmeshed in that perspective. We are lost. So much that, see, there is an experience that Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji goes with. He has just had shower or bath in Gangaji. He is walking towards Vishwanatha. There is Manikarnika Ghat, there is a Chandala. And inadvertently, Adi Shankaracharya ji seems to say, Duram Gacha Gacheti. Hey Chandala, Duram Gacha, please move aside. The Chandala very respectfully asks, Bho Bhavan Kim Dhuram Vanchasi. Sharirat Shariram Va Chaitanyat Chaitanyam Va. The moment Adi Shankaracharya ji hears this, he bends down, prostrates to that Chandala, gets up. And that is where spontaneously he writes the beautiful Manisha Panchakam, re-educating his own perspective to get to the highest. Because what was said by that Chandala was a jolt. What are you asking to move away from what? When we look at it from the Sharira to the Sharira, that is Panchabhautika, this is Panchabhautika, made of the same 5 elements. What big difference? If you are talking from the standpoint of that Chaitanya Tattva, it is one and the same. What big difference? Now when Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji is living, breathing, expressing this Vedanta Vichara, Vedanta Tattva, inadvertently for a brief moment, that perspective of looking at it had shifted. He had the humility to immediately accept it and recalibrate himself. And where do we function from? हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, दिल पे ले लेते हैं. Do you not know who I am? Oh, you also don't seem to be knowing who you are. So please go, check yourself. ఎవరి మీద ఎవరు పెత్తనం చేయాలండి? Am I getting across? The struggle and the competition is one jiva trying to take over the other jiva. For what and for where? My territory. Ramadas ji, Samartha Ramadasa, in his Dasabodha says, he gives very practical examples. He says, when you look at my territory called the house, my house, he says there are so many people call your house as theirs. The cats and dogs, the stray cats and dogs that are running around, they think that it is their space illegally occupied by you. Then inside there are lots of lizards. They think it is their space. The new daughter-in-law that has come, she says, I have to wait only for a couple of years. After that, this space will become mine. The constructor that had constructed that house, when going along, shows to the people and says, that house, apna hi hai. At night time, the thieves that are planning to dig in, they say, Aaj ke liye, for today, this house is ours. मैं और मोर torte maya shuru. Very territorial. My space, and then that which is yet to be my space. Therefore, constant struggle. We become so attached to the chair that we sit for an hour. This is where I sit, therefore this is my chair. Na tumhara hai, na mera hai. Where we are completely lost into, so much of sense of reality given to it, see, once you understand this perspective and then function in, it is just a mere functionality. There is no seriousness to it. There is only sincerity. We have a habit of saying, I am telling you seriously. कोई फायदा नहीं है. Tell it sincerely. Keep your seriousness with you. There is nothing to be taken seriously. In that projected reality, if there is an aberration, how do you deal with it? Not taking it as reality, but keeping it as a projected reality. Whatever is required to be done. Mama palayanam api mithya. The solution is also a projected reality. Then we are not carried away, we are just focused on that which is to be applied. Just like Nataka. There is a role, there is a situation, and you have to deliver that which is apt to that particular situation. Sometimes the directors are okay if you are improvising it on the moment, but make it even better. Nothing wrong in it. But you are just playing a role. And that role is a projected role. Just roll along. Don't be attached. Because there is nothing other than brahmaṇah anyat na kiṃcana. Brahma anyadbhāti yat. If there is something that which we perceive as other than this conscious existential principle, understand you have already given validity, and that validation to that which is a projected reality is called mithya. A very subtle concept. I am trying to put it across in as much simplicity as possible. The moment we hear mithya, it almost feels like it is not there. It is there, but as what? As only a projected reality. Not as a real actuality. It is only a projected reality. Yathā marumarīcikā. This example should clarify a lot for us. When in not just desert, sometimes even when on a hot summer day, when you are driving on the tar roads, the asphalt roads, at a distance you will see a shaky, watery movement on the road. And if you are trying to see that there is some water, and especially on the road, it feels like it keeps getting extended. You never reach it. In the desert, you almost, because the angles of those dunes, sand dunes are different, it is almost like you have reached only to realize that there is never been water. But I saw it. Yes, your seeing is fine. Everybody is seeing it. But knowing that it is only a projection that which we are perceiving, but not in reality. There is nothing actually there. Similarly is the condition of this entire jagat, that which we are so elaborately perceiving. Yathā marumarīcikā. Now once you understand this and function in the world, that everything is just a projected reality, there is an unburdening. In that unburdening itself is such a joyous state to be. ना मुझे किसी को कहीं पे किसी वस्तु को पकड़ना है, ना कोई छोड़ना है तो है, नहीं है तो नहीं है. As it plays along, you play along only to know that it is a play. Just like your child is standing behind the curtain and you can see the feet and the bulge of their hiding behind it. You understand their intention, that they want to jump on you and shock you, surprise you. You have already seen. You can always kill the thrill. I see you. The child feels disappointed. So what do? You play along. As soon as the child comes out and the boo, so, play along. Did you not know that? I knew. Then why did you? Just for the fun of it. The same perspective, that you know that it is a projected reality and your interaction is a play along with it. Without giving any extra sense of actuality to it. And when you are playing along with it, play sincerely. It should appear to that kid that you have really been scared. And once that is done, you move on. Play around with the next role. But from that perspective that it is only a... See, I am repeating that word so many times. It is only a projected reality, not the actuality. However be the situation. Continuing. dṛśyate śrūyate yatat yadyat brahmaṇo'nyanna tadbhavet tattvajñānācca tadbrahma saccidānandamadvayam dṛśyate śrūyate yadyat. Where is this Brahma Tattva reality? Is it whatever you are seeing, whatever you are hearing, whatever you are tasting, touching, feeling, yadyat. yadyadbrahmaṇo'nyanna tadbhavet. Wherever the mind is perceiving whatever, brahmaṇah anyat na kiṃcana. There is nothing other than that Brahma Tattva. And if you are seeing something other than it, what is it? It is a mithya. You are giving an actuality to it, and thereby you are inviting troubles forever. tattvajñānācca tadbrahma saccidānandamadvayam. And to stay firmly abiding in what? In this tattva, that I alone am, there is nothing other than it, and I, this conscious existential principle alone is real. And as the principle, it is ananta. Ananta, that which is unending or that which is eternal. And that ananta tattva, when it reflects into the antakarana, it reflects as ananda. When it expresses, not reflects, when it expresses into the antakarana, it is ananda. When you are absorbed, it is eternal. When it is expressed, it is ananda. The source of everything is within. And that is one without a second. Abiding in it, when you function, every perception, you don't have to be scared of, or it's not a taboo. You can function in the world wherever you are, whatever you are doing, where is the perspective? All of this is the substratum alone. On that which I am interacting with is a projected reality. But in and through that projected reality, all that I perceive is that substratum which is my true nature, which is non-dual. Saccidānandamadvayam. This is called tattvajñāna. Nothing of the outside is to be manipulated. It's only the vision of my perception has to be changed. See, those of you who are wearing glasses, when you take them out, how do you see? Do you see? See, these are all minor aberrations, what we are wearing. I have met with people who have -18 and -21. So I asked that boy to take the glasses out. I said, what do you see? He says, I see a tall orange blob. A hazy orange blob. Beyond that, there are no specifications in it. So in order to perceive it properly, what do? We put changing that perspective within, recalibrating it within. Initially, we have to keep recalibrating it at every point of our time. Once that abhyasa is dhrida, then there is no more recalibration required. You see it through and through. That which is being perceived is a projection, and that which it is projected upon is my true nature alone. If it is my true nature alone, and it is merely a projected reality, can there be fear? Can there be greed? Can there be hatred? What are you hating? Your own self. You cannot afford to hate yourself. The very opening statement of Advaita Makaranda, he says, Aham asmi sadabhami kadachin naham apriyaha. I cannot hate myself. See, those of us who are not comfortable being who we are and we hate, what are we hating? Not the self. That which we are carrying in our mind, that guilt or that regret or that, or there are some who say, I don't like my body, I don't like my face. In my opinion, I think I am not beautiful. I don't like the shape of myself or the body. What are you hating? The hatred there is again for the non-self, but not to the self. That assumed reality is being hated. Hatred can exist only in that format. In the self, in that non-dual, one without a second, there is no scope for hatred. Therefore, as a value system, when we are taught to recalibrate ourselves, even when we are just being the initial initiate, we are given these values of being at a non-hatred, all-loving, as an abhyasa, so that when you reach here, there is no more abhyasa required. It is your natural disposition to function from there, and all that will express only through love. Because I love who the most? The self. And when nothing but the self alone, love becomes a natural disposition. In fact, I would say that is when love actually becomes real. Until then, there is a hidden agenda behind every vyapara called love. We'll stop here and continue tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaः, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
When is the last day? Tomorrow?